As long as you live, keep learning how to live. Seneca. 2,000 years ago, in the heart of the Roman Empire, a man faced power, exile, wealth, and death. And yet, he never stopped searching for wisdom. His name was Lucius Annaeus Seneca, philosopher, playwright, and one of the greatest minds of Stoicism. Seneca lived through times of luxury and corruption, serving as advisor to the young Emperor Nero, and yet his heart remained drawn to simplicity and virtue. He believed that life's true purpose was not to chase pleasure or success, but to master the art of living, with reason, courage, and peace of mind. His words, written in letters and essays almost 2 millennia ago, still echo with clarity today. They teach us how to remain calm amid chaos, how to value time, and how to find freedom, not in possessions, but in the strength of our character. This is the story of Seneca, his life, his philosophy, and the timeless lessons he left for all who seek wisdom in a noisy world. Chapter 1. The Life of Seneca, Philosopher of the Empire. Lucius Annaeus Seneca was born around 4 BCE in Córdoba, Spain, a distant province of the Roman Empire. He was raised in a wealthy and educated family, surrounded by rhetoric and philosophy from a young age. His father, known as Seneca the Elder, was a famous writer and teacher of oratory. When Seneca moved to Rome, he was drawn to philosophy, especially Stoicism, a school that taught self-control, virtue, and acceptance of fate. But Rome was not an easy place for philosophers. It was a city of ambition, politics, and power. Seneca's brilliance quickly made him known, and soon he found himself entangled in the dangerous world of Roman politics. He served as a senator and later became the tutor to the young Emperor Nero, a role that would define both his rise and his downfall. Under his guidance, the early years of Nero's reign were marked by wisdom and restraint. But power corrupts easily, and as Nero descended into tyranny, Seneca's influence faded. Despite his closeness to power, Seneca tried to live as a philosopher, preaching simplicity, moderation, and moral strength. He wrote, "It is the sign of a great mind to despise wealth and to be content with little." Yet his own life was full of contradiction. A rich man teaching detachment, a statesman preaching retreat. Eventually, accused of conspiring against Nero, Seneca was ordered to take his own life. He met death calmly, in accordance with his Stoic beliefs, showing that philosophy was not just something he wrote about, it was something he lived. Seneca's life was a reflection of his philosophy, surrounded by chaos, yet seeking inner peace, bound to power, yet striving for freedom within. And from that paradox came some of the most profound wisdom ever written, lessons that still guide us through the storms of modern life. Chapter 2. The Essence of Stoicism. To understand Seneca, we must first understand the philosophy that shaped his soul, Stoicism. Stoicism was born in ancient Greece and later flourished in Rome. It taught that happiness is found not in pleasure, wealth, or fame, but in living according to reason and nature. It's a philosophy for real life, one that teaches us how to face pain, loss, and uncertainty without losing our peace of mind. At its heart are 4 guiding virtues: wisdom, the ability to know what truly matters; courage, the strength to face hardship with dignity; justice, the will to act with fairness and integrity; and temperance, the discipline to control our desires. Seneca believed that philosophy wasn't something to read about, it was something to practice every day. He wrote, "Philosophy teaches us to act, not to speak." To him, the Stoic life was about inner mastery, understanding that we cannot control the world around us, but we can always control our thoughts and actions. He said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." Those words remind us that most of our pain comes not from events themselves, but from how we think about them. In Stoicism, freedom isn't about escaping difficulties. It's about finding calm within them. It's the strength to stay steady when everything around you trembles. And Seneca's entire life, from the court of Nero to his final breath, was a testament to this inner freedom, this unshakable peace that Stoicism promises to those who truly live by its wisdom. Chapter 3. Virtue is the only true good. For Seneca, the foundation of a good life was virtue. He believed that everything else, wealth, pleasure, reputation, even health, was secondary. These things might make life more comfortable, but they could never make life good. He wrote, "The good things which belong to prosperity are to be wished, but the good things that belong to adversity are to be admired." To Seneca, adversity wasn't an enemy, it was a teacher. It revealed who we truly are. Virtue, he said, is the only thing that depends entirely on us. We can lose everything we own, but we never lose the ability to choose what is right, to act with courage, and to stay true to our principles. He often reminded his readers that life tests everyone, the wise and the foolish alike, but only the virtuous can remain unbroken. No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself. In modern life, this lesson feels more relevant than ever. When we lose a job, when someone criticizes us online, or when plans collapse, our instinct is to resist or complain. But Seneca would tell us to stand firm, to ask instead, what virtue can I practice in this moment? Maybe patience, maybe honesty, maybe courage. For him, virtue was freedom, because when your happiness depends only on your character, the world can no longer control you. The Stoic sage walks calmly through chaos because he carries his peace within. Seneca's message is clear. True wealth is not measured by what you have, but by who you are when everything else is taken away. Chapter 4. Mastering the emotions. Seneca knew that the greatest battles are not fought on the battlefield, but within the human heart. He believed that our emotions are natural, but when they rule over us, they destroy our peace. Anger, fear, jealousy, they are like storms that rise suddenly and cloud our judgment. The Stoic's task is not to suppress emotion entirely, but to understand it, to see it clearly before it takes control. In his work on anger, Seneca called anger a brief madness. He wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." He taught that when we pause before reacting, we reclaim our power. To Seneca, reason was our guide, the inner light that keeps us steady when emotions try to pull us off course. He said, "He who is brave is free," and bravery, in the Stoic sense, means facing life with a calm mind, not being ruled by impulse or fear. Think of moments in daily life, a rude comment online, a driver cutting you off, an argument that grows out of pride instead of truth. Seneca would remind us that these are tests, opportunities to practice mastery over the self. He warned that when we give in to anger, we hand over our freedom. When we let envy grow, we lose sight of gratitude. But when we govern our emotions with wisdom, we become untouchable, steady in joy and in sorrow alike. No man is angry who thinks that he is angry, he wrote, meaning that awareness itself is the key to liberation. To master the emotions, then, is to master life. It's the art of choosing peace over reaction, reason over chaos. And it is in this mastery that Seneca saw the essence of true strength. Chapter 5. The Value of Time. Among all of Seneca's teachings, few are as powerful or as haunting as his reflections on time. In his essay on the shortness of life, he reminds us that life is not truly short. It only seems so because we waste so much of it. He wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." To Seneca, time was our most precious possession, and yet the one we treat most carelessly. We guard our money, our property, our reputation, but we give away our hours without thought. We say we're killing time, not realizing that time is life itself, slipping quietly away with every breath. He observed that most people live as if they will live forever, postponing joy, deferring dreams, waiting for the right moment that never comes. While we are postponing, he wrote, life speeds by. For Seneca, the wise person lives deliberately. They know that every morning is a gift, every day a chance to learn, to grow, to live according to virtue. To live well is not to live long, but to live with purpose. He urged us to spend time on what truly matters: reflection, friendship, and the pursuit of wisdom. Not endless distractions, gossip, or the pursuit of empty pleasure. Imagine how often we lose hours scrolling through our phones, worrying about opinions, or chasing things we don't truly need. Seneca's voice cuts through centuries to remind us, what you do with your time is what you do with your life. His lesson is timeless. That awareness of mortality is not something to fear, but something to use. Because when you remember that time is limited, you begin to live fully, intentionally, and free. Chapter 6. Accepting Fate and Finding Peace. Seneca believed that peace of mind comes from harmony, not with fortune but with fate. He taught that we must accept the flow of life, even when it carries us through pain, loss, or change. He wrote, "Fate leads the willing and drags the unwilling." To him, freedom was not about bending the world to our desires, but about aligning ourselves with what the world brings. This acceptance was not weakness, it was strength. It meant understanding that we cannot control external events, only our response to them. He said, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." For Seneca, everything that happens, joy and sorrow, success and failure, is part of nature's great design. The wise person doesn't resist it. They adapt, learn, and find calm within the storm. He often compared adversity to fire. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Hardship, he believed, is not punishment, it is preparation. In modern life, this teaching feels revolutionary. We spend so much energy trying to control outcomes, careers, relationships, the future, and when things fall apart, we suffer twice, once from the event and again from our refusal to accept it. Seneca invites us to see life differently, to love our fate, amor fati, not just to endure it, but to embrace it as necessary, meaningful, and even beautiful. Because when we stop fighting reality, peace begins to grow. We learn to flow with the rhythm of life, to see every experience as an opportunity for wisdom. And in that acceptance, Seneca found the truest form of freedom, the calm of a soul unbroken by the world. Chapter 7. The Role of Philosophy in Everyday Life. For Seneca, philosophy was never meant to be abstract or distant. It was a practical guide to living well. It was not enough to read about virtue or wisdom. One must apply it daily in thoughts, words, and actions. He wrote, "Philosophy teaches us to act, not to speak. In every choice, every challenge, philosophy offered a compass, a way to navigate life's storms without losing balance." Seneca believed that reflection was essential. He encouraged writing letters, keeping journals, and thinking deeply about one's own life. Through self-examination, we learn where our desires mislead us, where our fears control us, and where our mind can grow stronger. He saw philosophy as armor against the chaos of the world. When insulted, philosophy teaches patience. When facing loss, it teaches perspective. When confronted with fear, it teaches courage. He wrote, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Most of our pain comes not from what happens to us, but from the stories we tell ourselves about it." Philosophy helps us change those stories, regain control, and live with calm and clarity. In modern terms, philosophy is like a daily practice of mindfulness, reflection, and intentional living. It is a toolkit for resilience, a guide to making choices aligned with virtue rather than impulse. For Seneca, living wisely was a continuous exercise, not a destination. And by practicing philosophy in everyday life, we transform challenges into lessons, obstacles into growth, and fleeting moments into meaningful life. Chapter 8. Friendship and the Human Connection. Seneca believed that friendship was one of life's greatest treasures, but not every friendship is equal. True friendship, he argued, is rooted in virtue, not convenience, pleasure, or gain. He wrote, "One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and to be understood. A real friend helps us become better, holds us accountable, and shares in both joy and hardship." For Seneca, friendship was a mirror to the soul. Through friends, we see our own virtues and flaws more clearly. He cautioned against superficial friendships, where admiration or self-interest masks genuine connection. Associate with those who will make a better man of you. Welcome those whom you yourself can improve. In practical terms, Stoic friendship requires honesty, patience, and mutual respect. It is not about agreeing on everything or avoiding conflict. It is about growth and support, even when it is uncomfortable. Seneca's letters often reveal his own deep friendships, relationships where advice, reflection, and care flowed freely. He showed that friends are companions on the journey of virtue, helping us navigate life's uncertainties. In our modern world filled with fleeting connections and digital acquaintances, Seneca's words remain profound. He reminds us to nurture bonds that challenge us, inspire us, and help us live not only longer but better. Friendship, in the Stoic sense, is more than companionship. It is a living practice of virtue, loyalty, and understanding. It is one of the few things in life that, when cultivated wisely, enriches the soul beyond measure. Chapter 9. Simplicity and Freedom from Materialism. Seneca, despite his wealth, often spoke about the dangers of attachment to possessions. He believed that true wealth is not measured in gold or luxury, but in freedom and self-sufficiency. He wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Desire," he warned, "is a trap. The more we chase, the less content we become. To live simply is not to reject comfort or beauty. It is to choose what is necessary and meaningful, and let go of excess that clouds the mind." Seneca practiced what he preached, advocating for moderation in all things, food, possessions, and even ambition. Materialism, he observed, enslaves the soul. A person who depends on wealth for happiness is at the mercy of fortune, but a person who cultivates virtue and self-control is rich in a way that no loss can touch. In modern life, this lesson resonates strongly. Social media constantly tempts us to compare and consume. Advertising pushes us to want more than we need. Seneca's wisdom cuts through this noise. He encourages reflection. He is most powerful who has himself under control. When we live simply, we gain clarity, freedom, and the ability to focus on what truly matters: time, friendship, virtue, and inner peace. Simplicity is not poverty. It is the art of choosing what enriches the soul rather than the wallet. And in that choice lies a profound form of freedom that even the richest person in Rome could not buy. Chapter 10. Seneca's Death and Legacy. Seneca's life ended as dramatically as it was lived. Accused of conspiring against Emperor Nero, he was ordered to take his own life. Yet even in the face of death, Seneca remained true to his Stoic philosophy. He met his fate calmly, with dignity and composure, showing that the ultimate test of philosophy is not in words but in action. He wrote, "Death is the wish of some, the relief of many, the end of all." For Seneca, death was neither enemy nor tragedy. It was a natural part of life to be faced without fear. His writings, letters, essays, and treatises continue to resonate because they are timeless lessons in wisdom, courage, and self-mastery. Letters to Lucilius teaches us reflection and self-examination. on anger, and on the shortness of life guide us through emotional storms and the fleeting nature of time. Seneca's legacy is not just historical, it is practical and alive. Every generation finds in his words guidance for life's challenges, stress, loss, uncertainty, and moral dilemmas. He reminds us that peace, virtue, and freedom are available to anyone willing to live deliberately. In the end, Seneca shows us that philosophy is not abstract or distant, it is a living practice, a way to face power, wealth, misfortune, and even death with courage, clarity, and calm. He lived, he wrote, and he died as he taught, with wisdom, with virtue, and with a soul unshaken. As long as you live, keep learning how to live. Seneca. This is the enduring gift of Seneca, a guide to living fully, wisely, and with purpose, no matter the century or the world we inhabit.